Hey, welcome to Math for Monday. So, what we talked about last week, and we just talked about also at the Thursday math meeting, for those who came, thank you. If you didn't come, you need to come to the math meetings, otherwise, you're going to get behind. We were talking about AKAs, also known as. So, like, my AKA, when I mentioned when I worked in a restaurant, was Danimal, Daniel, AKA Danimal. So one has a lot of AKAs. It can be 2/2, it can be 3/3, it can be 4/4, it can be 5/5, it can be 6/6, it can be 7/7, it can be 8. It just goes on and on and on. As long as the top number is the same as the bottom number, it's a whole. So like for 2/2, for instance, they've got the whole thing that's just been cut in half, but I still have both sides. Or 3/3, I've got the whole thing, it's just been cut into thirds, but I still have all the pieces, right? I've got all three of them. Or if it's in 4/4, I've got the whole thing. It's been cut into 4 pieces, but I've got all 4 of them. And the same thing for 5/5 and forever, never, 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 and so on. So as long as you have a number that looks the same on the top and the bottom, it means, oh yeah, it's been cut into 15 pieces, but I've got all 15. I've got the whole thing. And that helps when you're doing improper fractions and mixed numbers, so you know how to turn them into the other one. So today we're still turning improper fractions into mixed numbers. So like that first one is 5/2. So, oh, it's in halves. So I want to find out how many halves can I find there. So I know it's going to be in halves. So a whole in halves is 2, right? 2/2. So when you have an equal sign, they have to weigh just the same on both sides. So 5/2 on this side and then 2/2 on this side, those don't weigh the same. I need to add, can I add another 2/2, do you think? Sure, because 2 plus 2 is only 4. We need to get it up to 5. The 5/2 is still too heavy. And what's left over? 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus how many more halves to equal 5/2? 1. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. So then we find out, oh yeah, we found 1/2. We found 1 whole, another whole, and then there's that half left over. So it equals 2 wholes and a half. So that's how they did that first one. You'll notice they just said 4/2. That's because they just jumped right to 2. They're like, you know what? I don't even need to bother with 2/2 plus 2/2. I'm just going to go right to 4/2, which I know equals 2. So sometimes people do that. But this is a way where you definitely won't get it. For those who are going pretty fast at this point, you can think, how many times does 2 go into 5? Twice, 2, 4, and then what's left over? 1. So you have 2/2 plus 2/2 plus 1/2. But the way that I just did it there is the sure way to get the answer right. So let's try another one. Let's try, I'll just choose one. Let's try 12/3 at the bottom. Okay, how many wholes are in 12/3? Well, a whole in this case is going to be, oh, it's in thirds. What is it? It's 3/3, right? So how many holes can I find in 12/3? What do you think? Anybody have a guess? I just found 1. I know there's another one. And guess, well, we're only up to 6. We need to get that number up to 12. I just found another one. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. Can I find one more 3/3? Let's see. 3 plus 3 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. Oh yeah, I just found it. So we're done. That's 12/3 and that's 12/3. So how many holes did I find? I found 1. I found 2. I found 3. I found 4. Is there anything left over? No. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 12/3 is 4. So that's kind of interesting. Sometimes you just have a number like that that doesn't even have any extra fraction at the end. Let's do one more. Let's do this 9/2. H, 9/2. Okay, so this side weighs 9/2. I want to find out how many 2/2 I can find. How many 2/2 I can find inside 9/2? Anybody have a guess? It's gonna be at least like 2 or 3, right? Because that number 9 is pretty big. So just add them up and make sure the as long as you see, it's all gonna be halves on the bottom. You know that, but the tops need to equal the same. This was 9, so 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Oh, I'm getting kind of small here. Plus 2 is 8, plus 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, so we need to equal 9, so plus 1. Okay, so we've pulled out all the 2/2 we can find. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 9. So how many holes did I find? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 9/2 equals 4. And is there anything left over? Oh yeah, there's 1/2 left over. 4.5. So what I'd like you to do for this page is please finish page 36. And if you're somebody who's just flying through these, you're like, you know what, I've got this down, Daniel, I can do these. Then go ahead and see if you can do 37 as well. Same kind of problems, but bigger numbers. So page 36 and 37 if you want to, if you're feeling ambitious today.